CK is here. Happy Little Fox, aka Benji, Mr. Pew, Kevin Hardesty, Mr. Eggcake in Bros Mahmood, Simon Neep, Furbear, Gutez Linux. Not me, he says. Mr. Eggcake, Kevin Hardesty, Pie Floater, Wilyarma Tungakwa, Zibo the Fat, Carmetim.com, Rifleman, and it's shooting up now. That's because it's going out. Okay, let's start with sterilization, shall we? Ultraviolet sterilization of monkeypox is the monkey stick. Scanning with ultraviolet goodness, because let's face it, the medical industry is probably making so much money out of all these lovely pandemic-y type things that there's just going to be no stopping it now. It's going to keep making up new things. I might be understating monkeypox. That's all right. I'm just going to pause in the beard here. Purple beard. And we shall start. Any orange? Orange. There is a cable here. I can't really unplug it to show you because that would unpower the recording device. So there is orange. Oh, there's loads of orange in, say for instance, 33K would have tons of orange. 33K. It's orange, orange, orange. Let's start off with the customary Jägermunion. During this apocalyptic week in the Eleman, to the victims of war, all victims of war on all sides. As far as I know, there's only been one death in the Isle of Man so far during the TT races, the pandemonium, the absolutely ridiculous death race that they have here, usually every year. Also, I see several more. Tim T, you've not been here for a while. These rack mounting hex pewter, Canadian square pewter, and the mouse pewter have been here for quite some time. And also the little micro mouse computer, which maybe I should move it to the side away from the beard. Hello from the Theatre Tech in Victoria, BC, Canada. If you make it to Canada, you should visit the West Coast. I'll keep that in mind, Jason Key. I do want to visit parts of the world in the future, and that would probably include Canada. One death ever. No, Raven Bars Repairs. The latest death in the motorbike racing, which will be pushing it, well, it's over 250 deaths in its history. Brian Young, perhaps the Queen will get her Jubilee toast. I'll have to try and remember that. We had a little meet-up with my neighbours. Well, some of the neighbours, not many turned up, just to drink the Queen's tipple, which is Dubonnet and gin. Maybe I'll have a Dubonnet and gin. I've no eyes. That doesn't really matter, though. Dubonnet and gin, it could be. Definitely not seen either of those. Yes, there has been a proliferation of supercomputers. Squeal like a pig county out here, Mr. Eggcake says. Does Ralphie prepare the TT victims? Or Kirker, Ralphie does deal with the victims of the TT and prepares them for returning them to their country of origin. He says it's quite interesting. You can generally tell what happened by the way they're smashed up. What's Dubonnet? Fan plant. I'll go and get a bottle of it. Dubonnet. It's a fortified wine. 14.8%, so not that fortified, but it's got spices in it as well. And it's okay. It's a bit like, I suppose, really, what colour is it? It's red. That makes it kind of a port, but a spiced port. Carbonated. I could, except there's not much left, and it was quite hard getting this bottle in the first place. I think I'd probably just do it. It could be French Buckfast, Floydian Pink. It probably tastes the same. I'll just put it back in the fridge where it belongs. Thank you, Kenneth Evi. Much appreciated. Tony from Canada, because my kid Ada is here. Hello, Ada. Or, well, it is Ada, isn't it? It is Ada. I suppose ultimately, with Canada, there's that French connection. Sometimes pronunciations around Europe are different for the same name. Did I miss the Jaeger due to glitchy internet? Yes, you did, Furbear. The Jaeger was to victims of war. Try Building says, I'm heading out shortly to get a new gas cap and change my oil. That's reasonable enough. Hug your boyfriend too, says Mr. Eggcake. I have no boyfriend. It has been a whole week already, Sightland, unless you were here on Thursday for the Patreon stream. Talking of which, I have taken this apart, the patrons have seen it. It's the cordless ratchet. Very interesting. Quite a simple construction inside. I also reverse engineered the battery pack, which was took longer than actually stripping this completely to pieces. The only bit I didn't take out was one irksome circlip because I couldn't find the circlip pliers. I think it's going to be full of springs, that bit though. It will disintegrate into lots of little pieces. Mr. Eggcake, thank you for the offer, but I do not need a boyfriend. Ada Fruit, indeed. Batteries aren't meant to be taken apart. It came apart to a degree. It was interesting. Very simple. Hembev cordless anus stimulator. I'm not sure that'd be safe. Looks good. What's it like to use? I've not used it in anger, Stephen D. Brown, since I tend to do more subtle things, although later in the year it'll be up to the usual bigger hardware. For that, I'll be using hand tightening because that's all that's needed for those things. Feed the kitties, we need a short of the felines. Kevin Hardesty. Oh, we need a short of the felines. Yeah, I've tried that, but Hutchie never performs quite as expected. She's a bit weird. Ada Lovelace, mother of computers. I'm here and I've been sacked. You've been sacked, Squeak, for doing what? I hope you got sacked for something outrageous. I'm going to have to take the computer off and the shirt off because I'm already too hot. It's too hot. Why do I suddenly get hot? Suddenly the heat goes up. Let's reinstall the mouse pewter. I wonder if Mouse is here. Because he may be at a EMC Fest? What's it called? It's a technical festival in the UK. Why isn't Boris in the tower? Well, ask the Queen. 10 degrees Celsius here near Leeds. That's cool. That's quite nice. Bears are good, Sam McLachlan. They are. Indeed. Amber Turd lost her case. Her bank account is back. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happened there. It is because the background fire is on, Mick Spanner, but maybe I should put the blue LEDs in it for when I need it to be cooler. Rod Stewart is live at present. Seamus' voice sounds dead. Barry Shepherd. It's always been kind of like flat. It's all about the music and his songs. It's very good. Puts on quite a stylish show. I wouldn't pay to see it, but when you're there anyway, it's quite good. Because I don't really pay to see shows. Mouse is still at the Hackers event. Oh, should we call it Hackers? But yes, I'm doing a talk on stage tomorrow there. That'll be interesting. I wonder what it talks about. Electric vehicles. Did you see the man who drilled into a DNO cable in his garden today? No, I didn't, Did it make a loud bang? MG Production Services says, I seem to be inheriting around 10 to 12 per week. One use vapes, the batteries. Friends are saving them now for me. Excellent. I shall do a long-term test on those batteries for how many cycles they take. In the meantime, there's a step forward. Hold on, I'll go and get a comparison one. Okay, here's the comparison. This one is marginally longer. This is the disposable one. This one is kind of disposable, but you pull out the pod, you get your new pod, and you place your new pod with its little magnets in the end. These are the magnets themselves. What can I stick this to see if... hold on, I shall try and stick it... No, the magnets are in here. It's just little gold-plated plates in here, but you drop the pod in, and voila. Reusing the lithium cell, which has a USB-C charge point here for topping it up. Let's take the nicotine cartridge back out and put in my hacked one. Got a new kitten last week. She's some weeks old now and feisty, says Smoke. The lady cats are always feisty. My neighbours across the road have two kittens called Ronnie and Reggie, the gangsta names from London. The Crays. They're quite cute, still quite shy, but that's fine. Steve Odlers has just glued himself together, apparently with super glue. Need more orange. I'll keep that in mind. Late again, my fecking clock's still broken, says Liz Edwards. It needs adjusted. We named ours Mimi. She is a calico. Aha, smoke. My sister's cat is probably dead, says Mr. Eggcake. Why? Do you like Guinness, Clive? Not a huge fan of Guinness, Harris Chalk. I tend to drink locally. I tend to drink a local beer called Laxa. Or I could drink Rumsa. It's brewed locally and has the strange effect of just knocking me out. If I have a couple of pints of that, I fall asleep. Did you just pull a shot out of your parts drawer? Yes, I did, Buckabang Sanchez. You may be a bit far behind the stream, but when you get here, I notice when I've joined other live streams to watch them, it starts you at the beginning even though they're still live for some reason. Little glitch going on there. It is a 3D printed micro shot storage container for communion shots. Why was it talking about communion? Oh, I remember what I was talking about communion about. Someone's kid asked them, are nuns immortal? And I said, yes, yes they are, because they feast upon Jesus' blood and flesh. I also said something else, but it was very inappropriate. How do I join the Patreon? Newbie here. Floydian Pink. If you look in any of my videos in the main channel, the bigclive.com channel, you will find links in the description. A direct link now. I used to link to the website giving options. Now I just do the Patreon because it's the simplest, most straightforward thing. So Nuns of Vampires, they are Peter Stevens. This is why they dress in black and they fly at night. 10 p.m. finish tonight. Mondo Daft as a brush. The stream will be finishing. Well, it depends what time it is where you are, but it's currently just about 9:15 here at the moment. So it'll be going on to 11:15. Just so you know. Have you ever used a fire extinguisher in your workshop? I've never had to, Ian Scott Johnson. I see videos of people panicking in YouTube videos and not really doing the sensible thing, or people, not just fire, but water pouring through the ceiling, and they're going, what do I do? And it's like, they should teach this at school. Really, they should say, and they should maybe make it a legal thing that there must be a really obvious stopcock in your house in a known place, some marker, and even if it spoils the decor, just so people can turn it off instead of completely spoiling the decor. But I've had fiery incidents, but they have been controlled very quickly with common sense. Yes, nuns do fly at night, Kevin Hardesty. Any recent sex bot? Nothing really has turned up recently, Sam McLachlan. They tend to get jumped on quite quickly. The chipmunk, water pouring through ceiling, go out to the road and turn the damn water off. But I don't know how to. My fingernails, will they be ruined? That was a bit sexist, was it not? That's probably the guys as well these days. Powder extinguishers to be banned soon. Plastics, why? Oh, but it's bicarbonated soda in them. Mondo Daft as a brush, is it not? It's not microplastics. Oh. Weird. Where'd you find out how to grip the broom? Wet rare hair. Oh. Yeah, get the fire extinguished, tackle it at the base. It's all common sense. And it's just like the sooner you extinguish it, the less of a problem it's going to be. Any photonic induction use? Photonic induction does what photonic induction does, GFresh UK. He's probably busy working. Bring back Halon, indeed, the chipmunk. There were Halon extinguishers in the substation my first day as an apprentice electrician and getting all the warnings. They didn't send me on a one-day course. The guys just said, this is Halon. If it releases, we have to get out of here as quickly as possible. That's all that was needed. That's common sense. That wasn't a rant. I did rant, however, about the people not doing something about an emergency happening in their house and using common sense to minimise it. It's just like, maybe someone will come and help me. No, do it yourself. Really. Ah, well. I guess ultimately that is the Darwin theory at work for some people. We had the rebreather in our data center where we had a halon extinguisher, says Kate Incredible. I've come across these. I believe Arco used to sell rebreathers. Quite odd. It's a sachet of chemicals that reacts to the moisture of your breath to liberate oxygen. Squeak, for being me, well, that's for, but who cares? Might be, I've been hanging out with a trans lady and fucking about with amigas. Complicated. Squeak, maybe you're just like your typical technical autistic type person, a bit weird, and maybe they can't handle that because they're norms. Oh well, they can fix their fucking machines themselves. Bench PSU has just gone bang and lots of smoke, Paul Norman. Interesting. Switch mode power supply, I'm guessing, if it's done that. Or it could be the capacitor. Were you doing something odd to it? Were you charging batteries? Did you get them the wrong way around? Have you got anything from Skipton, Yorkshire, Sam McLachlan? I'm not really sure. I can't be very specific about where things come from. All sense is now uncommon. Yeah, Norm Swan, it is uncommon sense. Saludos, Andy. I had a PC PSU go bang once, lots of smoke and a nasty smell. I would guess, Topaz, unless it was a transistor blowing up, it could have been electrolytic letting rip, and that creates more of a fog than a smoke. Weird is good, Mr. Eggcake. It makes life so much better. Some of us have built-in fire extinguishers, but they smell like piss. Yes, wet error. My neighbour calls an electrician to change a light bulb. It gets worse than that, Kirka. Who's that guy with the channel where he reviews kitchen appliances, and he tripped the RCD, and it was a split load consumer unit, so two RCDs. So he plugged it into another socket elsewhere in the house that was still working, tripped that one, and then called an electrician because he didn't know how to reset the RCD, which is another thing. Maybe they should just have, I don't know, I could run a one-day course for this. I could charge thousands of pounds for it and make people do it, like the NICES. What's the best place to get 18650s, Adam? It depends what type you want. The high current ones, vape shops, because they get through quite a lot of them in vapes. Thank you, WebDevy. Have you seen those USB-C PD cables that show the power usage? There's a segment display on one end of the cable. I've not seen the one with it built in. No. Wonder what the voltage. It was indeed Barry the Chipmunk. Very awkward. It was Barry Lewis. Very awkward. It's like, just reset the breaker. It's just like, click, click, done. Oh, not to worry. Maybe we just take these things for granted. Shuffleboy, I thought you said I remember tantrums. I remember tantalums. They were fun, you got them wrong way around. They were fun, you got them the right way around. They were not super reliable. What are those breakers that have three positions? Some RCDs have them. Some ordinary breakers have a three position, and it trips to the middle, so you have to click it down and then push it up. Yeah, talking at the beginning of autism, talking my mum through doing that when she was in Isle of Man and I was in Glasgow was quite complicated. She was on the phone to me, which means that the coily lead of the phone would have been absolutely rigid by the time she was actually where she was. So I'm surprised the communication did not just shut off. Oh, one of the caps is no more, says Paul Norman. That's not a bad failure, to be honest. That's an okay failure. That's easy enough. Gaz, hi Clive, sorry for any bullshit I've said about you in the past. You are valid. Just so you know this, Gaz and all the others, if you ever, because it's the family nature that you let things prey in your mind. If you ever say anything rude about me, if you call me just anything, I'm not bothered. It's water under the bridge. Don't let it prey in your mind. I'm not bothered. You'd have to go to extreme lengths to provoke me. I'm old enough to be above stuff like that. It's fine. Don't worry about it at all. Grant Rennie's, the old Halon Systems Scott equipment as in breathing apparatus, those things need refilled and checked twice a year at least. Oh, that's a bit scary. I wonder if they do. Poopy beard man, Mr. Eggcake. Well, apparently men's beards do have poop in them, according to some angry scientist. Maybe she should have checked her own hair. Because, yeah, let's not go there. CGR Electrical showed a liquid-filled fire suppression rod for consumer units. When I featured a consumer that had gone on fire, Topaz 1888, that company contacted me and offered me one of these little rods with the liquid, self-extinguishing liquid that pops and extinguishes the fire. To be honest, I didn't really respond because an electrical arc will sustain. You can extinguish it, but it will just restart because it's an electrical arc. It's self-powered. It's not a normal fire. So by all means, put the fire out. It's going to do like Roger when he bursts into flames and Family Guy? No, it wasn't Family Guy. American Dad. And he just keeps bursting into flames. That's what consumer units do until the power goes off. Yes, car batteries and bus batteries too. Indeed. Bus batteries burst into flames quite regularly these days, apparently. And they need to not make them torch the interior of the vehicles. It's like, what the fuck? One of the things I've been doing this week is looking at lithium battery packs for illuminated costumes because the option of the little pouch with lithium cells in it, I vetoed that. It has to be in a case that can control if it's on a performer. Maybe I'm the only person who thinks of these things, but it has to be in a case that will vent the flames away from the performer if a cell just randomly fails. It's very unlikely, but if it happens, could burn a performer. That's not acceptable. Talking of which, been looking at Disney Paris, their illuminated parades. Just top notch, really top notch. So much better than America does Disney. Disney Paris is just very, very flamboyant. Really good. What about Life PO4? That'd be worth considering, Moped Bands. It's actually the ease of getting them. But Life PO4 isn't a bad idea, but they'll still get hot when they fail. They just won't ignite because the electrolyte will still vent out them, but it's not combustible as the other is. Whiffle? The whiffle in 3 minutes, Mr. Eggcake. Have patience. Flamboyant, yes. James Speakman, exuberant, enthusiastic. They're so much more characterful. And you look at the choreography of the Disney parades and it's like, screw that, because like they've got really stupidly complex dance moves and they're long. It's so much more complicated than other ones. Oh, there we go. We have it, our first sex bot. Good job, Chipmunk. A 3 minute lasting woofle? No. I don't think there's enough gas for that. In fact, there's barely enough gas to do one woofle. Listen. I'm not sure. Is this going to... It's barely any left in there. We'll see how many woofles we get out of it. It was a quick delete because the moderators are on the ball for this. And also, because there's a 10-second delay before you're allowed to post again, it stops the sex bots going bam, 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 and just filling it up with their spam. Don't put large neodymium magnets in your pockets. I don't do that. Hook me up, Johnny Mnemonic says. Okay. I'm guessing it'll carbonate, Film 11. I'm not sure if... I don't think you need to carbonate. What can you carbonate liquid with gas? I don't think you would be able to. Hello, Clive. Just sitting here at a Boeing interview. Aha, Sean not telling. Are you interviewing or being interviewed? Just get Ave to mill you a mini flamethrower. Peter Steams, I really missed the ball on. I didn't realise the Boring Company's flamethrowers that appeared as a Elon Musk joke. I saw it just randomly and thought, oh, that'd be quite funny. And I thought, I'll think it over, and they were gone the next day. I didn't realise it was just a spontaneous, instant thing that was going to sell out. Should have got it. That would have been very nice in the background. It would have complemented the Ave hammer nicely. Flamethrowers and big hammers. Why no magnet in pocket, fan plant? Multiple magnets in pockets with your testicles between them. That's why. Is there a website that I can use for tech info? Well, there are lots you can use for tech info, Bunny Love, but it just depends what you need. We need a bagpipe whiffle. Well, I'll see what I can do. Did you ever have to go for an interview for a job? I can only recall 2 interviews. Oh, 3 interviews. 4, actually. The first one when I was too young to start. Let's have whiffle, and then we'll do the interview whiffle. When I tried leaving school at the age of 15 and it turned out no, you couldn't. Woofle. Because when you leave at the age of 15, apparently you do dangerous things like make wooflers, apparently, probably. Woofle. Oh, that's quite hot. It's not a summer thing. Woofle. Fireball. No spiders. Well, there aren't now. I don't see any spiders about, so they're safe. Plenty of spiders in general. So, first, glug glug glug, says James Speakman. I shall glug some coffee. John the Hughes, if people cheated in class, they won't pass their state test. Sucks for people who do that. They're stupid. Took me the whole semester to pass my final. I have to say, I see young kids getting all stressed out about their exams. It turns out they're not that important, because if you're super technical, a proper company, a good company will detect that because they know that this happens now, and that sometimes technically good people don't do well at school, but they blossom afterwards, like I did. But anyway, so don't worry about exams too much. If you fail them, you can still make a technical career in the direction of your choice. Anyway, first interview. I left at 13, says Mr. Eggcake. I tried leaving at the age of 15, got my interview with Hugh M. Fulton in Glasgow, a very sectarian part of the interview. I was there with my dad. They said, first of all, before the interview happened, I was sent to Springburn College to do what do they call that again? An aptitude test. And they said, well, you got the highest mark in the aptitude test. This is good. And my dad, he said that he needed my dad to attend with me at the interview. And he turned to my dad at the end and said, so what church do you go to? And my dad says, Church of Scotland. He said, okay. It turns out that they don't employ Catholics. Well, maybe they do now, but they were sectarian. It was Rangers versus Celtic, Protestant versus Catholic. It was a Protestant company that did not employ Catholics. But anyway, they offered me the job and then realised that I was too young to leave school in the first place. That wasn't great. Very disappointing. They said, apply again next year, but didn't think about the fact that you need to get theoretically, the exam results come out after the interviews, which maybe they should have thought that through a bit more. But anyway, ended up at E.J. Steel & Co. the next year, getting an interview with my mum this time, and they didn't ask sectarian questions. And just got the job straight there and then. So that's only 2 real interviews. I got a very half-assed interview with Thomas Johnson's shopfitter. It was basically like, when can you start? That's not a real interview. And the other interview I got was with Elm, now owned by Honeywell. They wanted me to become a sort of service engineer, going around fixing their control system, which I didn't really like because I installed a lot of their control systems and they were very, very unstable. Turning a light switch on and off in the vicinity that was not even connect the panel would crash the panel. I've been looking for one of those controllers, those old Elm controllers. I want to reverse engineer it now. I want to see why it was doing that. It was so susceptible to crashing. But anyway, I didn't get on very well at that interview because I knew the person who was interviewing me and I told him just how fat he'd got. That's not really good interview practice, but I didn't really want the job anyway. I'm not sure, I was just encouraged to go to this thing. And he said, what's your speciality? And I said, sabotaging control systems. That's also not what you say at interviews. Nothing happened after that. The person who had asked me to come was very frustrated at the answers I was giving. Very awkward. But anyway. The chipmunk. Got asked to leave because I threatened the headmaster with a Molotov cocktail. That's quite exotic. Did you sabotage your interview? I did, yes. I didn't want that job because their systems were shit. Maybe they've solved it now. All I'll say is the female programmer deserves lots of respect for making up for... She must have known that the system was going to crash, it was unstable, so she clearly wrote all important variables just before switching a solenoid or anything like that. because as soon as it switched to solenoid, it would crash. You could hear one of their controllers because MD has worked in HVAC, refrigeration, stuff like that. We'll know the classic sound of a mag valve, the distinct click as it comes on and the hiss of gas going through it. It used to go click, 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 because it was crashing and it was immediately trying to turn it on again. It was crashing until it finally stuck. Meanwhile, the display would display gibberish. And I said to them, and I knew fine well it was crashing because the light switch was not connected to these things. I said, what's that? Why does it display gibberish? And they said, it's a code. Yeah, right. I'd love to know. I'd love to know what was the problem there. It was probably something really simple, like a coupling capacitor in the wrong place, because I did make a design faux pas. Hey, it is awesome, Squeak. I made a design error when I was designing an atomic clock decoder based on a microcontroller and a display driver that received, just looked for the carrier signal at 60 kilohertz. And I accidentally in the design put a capacitor between the 12 volt and 5 volt rail, which means that any disturbance in the 12 volt rail would send a spike onto the 5 volt rail and crash it. And it took me a while to work out what I'd done there. Also, the other thing that I screwed up myself with, keeping ground tracks separate from high current, because you might think it's just a bit of copper. And switching, even there's a relay at the end, it's just 0 volts, isn't it? The 0 volt rail with the transistor switching down to it. No, when the relay turns on, there'll be a current spike and it will cause a voltage gradient across that little copper track that will potentially corrupt data that's happening in the processor at the time, and it will crash the processor. Wouldn't an inductor have been better? What? That kind of thing sounds like probably a race condition. That's proper hard programmed to get that stuff right. I was once working on a supermarket refit, 2 fully qualified sparks with a picket. Spent 2 days changing all light bulbs because they weren't white enough. Really? Steve, that's reasonable enough. I can imagine that. If they got the wrong colouring. Spud sabotaged his job interview in train spotting. That was common, Pegtooth. When people that didn't want to come off the brew, because unfortunately there's certain things that you can actually get paid more for not working. So they go to the interview and they fuck it up by being done. Yes, that happens. I couldn't do that. See you later, says Sam McLachlan. Catch you later. Any copper that forms a loop will inductively couple noise. Yes, indeed, will the cat. So here's the thing. Do you know, I've noticed this thing, that some of the people that want a particular job, like say someone who's like their dream job would be something like involve street lighting, for instance, or as a mechanic or something like that. And they're really good technically, but they've not got enough courage to actually apply for the job. They're too scared. It seems too big that they're too scared to apply for it. It's not. Even if it looks like a massively, say for instance, an excavator mechanic, a heavy diesel mechanic, it looks intimidating because of the scale of what you're working on. If you want to do that job, apply. What's the worst that's going to happen? You get knocked back? It doesn't really matter. Apply again later on when they've forgotten, or apply to a different company. Apply for the job you want. Interviews are massively intimidating. They shouldn't be the chipmunk. The very best interviews, there's another interview I may have had in the past but not realised it. While I was waiting, someone technical came out and just started talking technical to me. And it turned out they may have been interviewing, just testing my technical knowledge without me even knowing it. Greetings, Death Palm. Drivers are treated like shit at parcel services. They are, Matambali. It's just one of these things. Oh, Scott Godwin just started a new job last month for Kane Group. Kane. Ah. GPK, agreed, apply for what you want and learn what you lack. Better still. you're getting paid to learn. It's almost like it's like your dream job, plus you're getting paid to act, and all the training's being given to you and all the certification. It's like, what could be better? And if it turns out you don't like it, it's okay. You could either complete the training with them and spend a little while, and that's a feather in your cap, so to speak, or you could move on to another job. I'd recommend completing training. Companies don't like it if they hear that you've started training in one company and then just ditched them midway through training because they're worried in case you're going to do the same thing to them. Frank Nedobity. I'm a mechanic by trade and even dabbled in working OM for wind generation. I now drive truck for John Deere dealership. That's a diverse range of things. But the best interview is the one you don't know you're getting. And it's the best interview. You can tell when someone knows their shit, even if they're not experienced yet. Just talking them to you can get a grasp of their aptitude just from their hobbies and what they do and how they answer technical questions. Sounds like other people scamming unemployment here in the States. Jonathan Hughes, you might also be quite far back, but that's all right. Did I miss the woofle, says Justine? You did, but there's another one in approximately 50 minutes. Oh, Ian Scott Johnson, my dream electronics job ended and the company started bouncing wages checks. I had a good 21 years. Oh no, 21 years. Companies go bust. What can you do? My current job is a weird blend of office work, logistics, and machine operation, which sounds good, Hobo Sullivan, because it multiple skills. Serco Sucks says, is that who you're with, the chipmunk? Serco have their finger in many pies. Weird shit for a brief moment, then YouTube cleared up. That happens, Matumbali. Katie Credible, those casual interviews are the best because they relax you and don't cause you to be unable to answer the question. This is it. See if you put someone under pressure and they're technical, everything will just go out the head. Just like point a camera at me and then it's just that everything goes out the head. I enjoy being a multifunctional bastard, Hobo Sullivan. In the past I'd have said, I'm not so keen on the idea of the multi-trade operatives, but now I'm thinking more fun. Because more variety, more skills, yeah, it's fine. So if you want a bit of everything, facilities management companies are always employing. It's a bit shady that some of them are saying, what was the name of that company? I'm just going to take a look at my phone. I took a picture of the back of their vehicle. And it's kind of a bit suspicious but they've got things. Greetings to Canada, Chris. If they have in their back of their van, I think Cone and TK might do this, we are recruiting. If they have that permanently printed in their van, that's not necessarily a good thing. That's one of those companies that you take all their training, but if they treat you like shit, then you move on. The van says, SPL, safety protects lives. Well, that's a bad start. We are recruiting. Powerlines UK. If you want to work in the Powerlines, there's powerlinesgroup.com. Is that powerlines-group.com? It is powerlines-group.com. And they say, for details, scan the QR code or email jobs@powerlines-group.com. When they've got number 603 in their van and they've got a safety slogan next to their name, SPL, Safety Protects Lives, and they're continually recruiting, that's not a good sign. But by all means, use it. Try not to die. You'll be wise. It's fine. I trust you. Get all their training. Get the cards and certificates, and then move on if needs be. Steve says, I refuse to work for any company who would recruit me. This is an issue. Sometimes you're better just bumming around like I've done for my life. I've not had a full-time job in a long time because I'd kind of like the freedom. It helps if you're single. Any TV letters lately? No, Kevin Hardstay. Very disappointing. They don't love me anymore. Def Palm says, I'm experienced in engineering, electrical, electronics, plastics and management, and I'm doing the exact job I want to do. So you work in a sort of factory environment, don't you? Scott. I've seen you've posted a picture from work once. in your high vis. I'm guessing you're in maintenance? Is that plastics processing? Don't know. The Chipmunk says, as far as I tell, facilities management is for companies that should have a maintenance department. They sub it out. I think it's a liability thing. And they also don't have to do training, which some of the facilities management companies don't do either. Try not to die, that is the slogan. Yes, indeed, Mr. Eggcake. Maybe the reason they're always recruiting is because their guys go up and try and work live on the lines or something like that. Goodness knows. Ah. The Ladybird transistor radio book uses OC71. Are they germanium transistors? They were out of date even in 1979. Zadster. Hmm. I have a job as a school science technician. Technician 99 says, great job, better than working for a living, but the pay isn't too good. It isn't, but you probably get some free time in your own little mini lab, the cupboard, and you get access to chemicals and stuff that you can do stuff with. There's a lot to be said for that. You've got a choice. You can go for a high earning job that's action all the time and lots of stress and pressure, or you can go for a low earning job that is much less pressure, doesn't earn as much money, but is more fun. The high action jobs can be fun as well, but it depends what you want. Some people just want a simpler life. Scrolling up and down, scrolling up and down. Catching up here. I'm asking questions of people and then, team leader, but I get to fix all the stuff others can't figure out. Okay, reasonable enough. Team leader, it's very. Team leader comes across as one of these new slogans in these companies, but I know that the way it goes in most modern factories is that if you start in the maintenance department, you'll pretty much start at the bottom, and you'll be the person that goes to the machine first for simple things. And if you can't fix it, then you go to the person above you, and if they can't fix it, then it goes to the person above them. It depends where you're working. Sometimes you're the only person there, and you have to fix things, or they'll call in an external contractor to fix it, which isn't usually necessarily a good thing. Um, or it goes depending on it might just be you and the maintenance manager, and if you can't fix it, they'll try and fix it, or it could be multiple layers. But usually at the top in the big factories, there's the beardy geek at the top who is the one who can fix the unfixable. Work-life balance, you'll be at work all the effing time, Matambari. Don't work too hard. In the past, maybe it was propaganda, but in the UK, they said the Europeans are only working something like 30 hours a week or something like that. And we were all working all the hours and kind of needed overtime because people needed it to support their lifestyle. And maybe it was the media was saying, those lazy European bastards, don't be like them. You have a right to work all the hours. And then working in France, suddenly it's like, they've actually got the right idea. They've got the right idea. They have a life outside work. They are doing the right thing. It's all going backwards at the moment. It's going back to the Victorian era. All the unions in the UK, the decent unions, the real ones are gone. It needs a renaissance. It needs a sudden burst of new unions again. I am that bearded geek, said Garbage User. Absolutely. And you get to tinker and play about with stuff and mess about in the computer and program stuff while waiting for things to break down. 66 kVA. Liquid cooled resistant spot welding without training. Good thing Miller made a safety data sheet so I had a clue how to do this. Don't die, Connor McIntosh. That does sound like getting thrown in very much at the deep end. I don't have a life outside work, Echo the Husky. That's not a great situation. You can change that. You don't really have huge financial requirements, do you, anyway? You could change. Carrie, severe Thatcher is dead. It's time to clean up the shit she left. She didn't like unions. But also the other thing, I mentioned this in the past, university or college versus an apprenticeship. The apprenticeship will give you real life experience, working every single day with the real materials on the real equipment, and you'll also get the college time thrown in usually, or shit companies will be home study. But you get paid to learn. Instead of coming out of university with a piece of paper that says, I attended presentations and a huge debt to go with it, you get paid. You actually come out not just out of an apprenticeship, you come out completely 100% employable because you've got real experience behind you. But it depends what you want to do in life. Don't work too hard. It's not worth it. You'll regret it later on. Squeak says, yeah, I need more certs. Yeah, well, you can get the one-day certificates. You just have to pay for them. They're useless. They're made up by office workers. Rant. Bath, sure it'll it appears like you're building up your inventory of soda. I think I am, Gemini Man, because when I was over in Glasgow, I found some rolls of soda and thought, well, I'll take them across as well. And the exams are so easy these days because all the answers are in front of you. Hold on. Oh, Chipmunk got it. Good job, Chipmunk. You beat me to it. I did an apprenticeship, says Def Palm, and other stuff, so I've got an advanced trade level qualification. All useful. It's different in every country as well. Joe, I've been following a forum on Facebook. It's a sign installers forum, and it's kind of interesting, but it makes me realise that there's no real formal route into becoming a sign installer other than getting a job as a helper and picking it up, but you don't get much in the way of electrical training, and some of the wiring is distinctly shit. And also, it's all wet and rusted and corroded and wires everywhere, and it's like you're looking at it going, oh, I'm glad it's not high voltage neon stuff anymore. Have you tried pure honey in the soda stream yet? I have not, cheeky monkey. That'd be quite a lot of honey. But having said that, the sign industry, you get to do a bit of metal fabrication, you get to do wiring, you get to like dig holes and put the concrete and the post in the ground, particularly in America and the big signs, the big huge signs. And you get to drive a big bucket truck with a crane built in, which to be honest, that's worth it in its own right. I'm a bit of a sucker for bucket trucks and things like that. Very jealous of Kevin the lineman's Unimog bucket truck. He won't give me it. Polish wiring is often shit, says Kerry. Many countries in Europe have fairly shady wiring. Apparently Deliveroo don't do sex bots. You could phone up and ask Brian Cox. I worked on motorway overhead signs, DCL, which is interesting in its own right. Once you're familiar with them. You are nearly in all manner of metalwork and water or soaked areas though. Thrilling. When I finished university, I had a degree in computing and 3 forklift licenses. I've used the forklift licenses far more, says Steve. Forklifts are also a good toy. And so destructive when you have little incidents with them. $720 hours classroom learning, 8,000 hours on the job apprentice, Jonathan Hughes. I never added up the hours. I did, normally an apprentice in the era I trained, the 80s, normally they would have done a 4-year apprenticeship, and the first 3 years would have involved, for part of the year, it would have been day release. 1 day a week you'd go to college. I loved it, particularly when the college day was on a Friday, because it was like, I loved going to college. Super good technical lecturers. It was like full on, it was proper training. It wasn't like modern training. And they had the benefit of experience behind them, so they'd give you real life examples of what they'd done in the past in that situation. And the things that they'd seen. They also told you all the things that they don't tell you nowadays. Like I covered in the electrocution video about touching bus bars, the final check in a bus bar, knuckle it with the back of your hand and stuff like that. Yes, I've been to Las Vegas, DR. I've been distracted. But the college, yes. But it was only supposed to be the first 3 years, but I ended up, because I did quite well and I went into the electronic side of things, I did the 4th year as well with the electronics course, but also Did my technician's course at the same time. I didn't even study for the exam. I got the highest mark in written. It's like, because they changed the exam that year, and people who had learned off the previous exam, the cheat sheets, uh, didn't do very well. They had a really high failure rate that year. That showed how many people were cheating and didn't fully understand it. Uh, Joanne says, my work was supporting people for mental health. That was the best work. That is also useful. Yeah, look at me. I'm Clive the Big Head, DCN. Hi, I've got the certificates to show it. It's just, it's just silly. It just felt a bit odd. That, yeah. Oh, my certificates are tucked out the way. They're kind of like they're not even valid anymore. They're obsolete. It's all been replaced by this crash. If I wanted to go back in the electrical industry now, I'd have to attend the one-day slideshows of those embarrassing training that is basically not even connected to electrical industry. Just to tick the box. Here's the money. Where's my plaster certificate? Yay! I'm allowed to go and work now. Mumble, mumble, mumble. If I ran the country, mumble, mumble, electric chair, mumble, mumble. The Chipmunk says, when we did our 18th edition exam, I got 97% because you understand it so well. Also, it was probably one of those stupid open book tests, which is like, you could go to the gas exam and just say, no, no, no need to do the course. I'll just read the notes because the answers are there anyway. Well, who's going to fail? Is this supposed to make it, is this fairer for people that they can pass it easier? It's not a good idea. Is it Wiffle time? No, Liz Edwards, it's not Wiffle time. You're just greedy for flames. The Wiffle time is actually in 33 minutes. But it's Jägermunion time shortly. I think it might be to the Queen. You'd have to start again, Clive, no doubt, or Near's damn it. I would, Ian Scott Johnson, because it's a bit disappointing that what used to be the epic, the city and guilds carried so much credibility in the past. It's associated with these dumb courses now. That's embarrassing. Over in Holland, the wiring is very shitty. Peter Hancock's, but we just say every single country then. Every country has bad wiring and good wiring. Greedy, me, yes, Liz, you're just greedy for fire. Tell you what then, you may have one little whiffle. A very small one. Oh no, it's a big one. Ooh. Liz does need a new clock. The Queen is old or something. Indeed, it's coming up to... Well, do you know what? Maybe I shall celebrate the Queen by finishing the coffee, right? And I shall have a Dubonnet and gin, which is apparently, it's called a martini. The cocktail is called a martini, but not actual martini, but a martini. The beard, it grows replacements. I wonder what would happen if they did an arc flash test with people with and without beards. It would set the beard on fire, but would it actually protect the skin more? Don't know. I'm not going to put beard oil on it. That sounds like I'm going to make it combustible. But you could use a boric acid treatment or boron treatment and make your beard flameproof. I'm not sure that would be particularly good. It'd certainly keep it fresh. I'm just going to go and get the requirements for Her Majesty's Royal Tibble. I shook the Dubonnet. I don't think you're supposed to do that. The glass I'm going to be using has a picture of Ralphie on it. It's a Ralphie glass. It seems appropriate given it's a toast to queens. Gordon's gin. I felt that I should get Gordon's. They've changed the bottle. It's quite stylish now. That was a good move that they're changing the bottle like this. It's a very standard gin. Now that's 1 part gin and 2 parts. So I'm just going to judge this. I'm going to take it right up to just underneath Ralphie. It's red. Ralphie knows that. He even minces when he walks. It's very embarrassing to walk next to. Maybe it's just because I walk fast or something. I'm not really sure. Top it off. No, Brit, this is the correct ratio. You can't just make up the Queen's lunchtime tipple. She has it every day at lunchtime. So this is in lieu of the Jägermunion, this is to Her Majesty the Queen. It's her favourite tipple. It's Dubonnet and gin. Sickly sweet. Very strong because basically it's fortified wine with more fortification. And it's not bad. No ice. Ice would have been great. Ice and a slice of lemon are the official thing. I don't have ice. To the Queen for to get into a ripe old age, okay, she's not beheaded anybody. Minor technicality, not really going to make a name for herself in the history books, well, apart from Diana, obviously. But beheading is the way to get yourself remembered, Your Majesty. Just thought I'd mention that, but not me. Just don't chop my head off. Only people in the House of Lords and other places like that. She's probably not really thrilled at her age having to go through this whole Jubilee shit, to be honest. She'll be glad when it's all over. Kerry, indeed. Cheers to all the queers. Indeed. Frogs, I'm doing fine this evening. How are you? Toasting the Queen with Sumatran coffee. Excellent, Matambai. That's fancy, that's posh. Behead Boris. I can think of many other people before Boris. He's just a puppet. She's mostly indoors watching on telly, probably, Zadster, with an animatronic out there with its arm going backwards and forwards. No, Imrose actually beheading the Queen would certainly put her in the history books, but it's not really a nice thing to do to someone who's quite old and fairly passive. No, bad. Prince Andrew conveniently got COVID this week. That's handy. Kirka solves complications. Thank you, Mr. Planet Man. Oh, it is Pride Month, Craig Matthews. I should know this because the local gelato, the gelatery shop that sells it, it's kind of ice cream, but really quite good, comes in little rainbow cups. The Isle of Man surprised me a lot. From being such a repressed island to suddenly letting rip last year with its pride and just being super ultra gay. Very impressive. Will the drink your drinking soda stream Devil Fist X? It might. Well, I suppose it would. Is it fizzy already? No, really it'd be the same as the carbonated sherry. And this is basically sherry. I carbonated port as well. It's a very sweet port type stuff. It is called the Isle of Man, which would be kind of gay, Peter Stevens, except that it's reversed. It changed its laws regarding being gay and persecution, all that, fairly recently. Thank you, Grant Rennie. Can you show your Nixie tree lamps? Not right now, because I know where they are roughly, but I'm not sure how easy they are to get. Thank you, Squeak. This is the hot end of the Soldier Iron certificate. That's excellent, useful. Thank you, Hobo Sullivan. I appreciate you channeling the community around it. You're welcome. I appreciate the community too. Have I missed some super chats? I think I've missed some super chats. I could be wrong. I'm just going to scroll back. There's Mr. Planet Man. I think I've got most of them. I do my best to keep up. I don't necessarily respond instantly if I'm in the middle of discussing things. There's the compressor just come on for the dehumidifier. One moment, please. And now it is back off. Firefox Lifty, I like a sherry. I only drink them at Christmas for some reason. It's just that seasonal thing, isn't it? That you've got seasonal habits. Can you show your Nixie tree lamps? Says Gizimoy. I shall try. Oh no, I'm way back, haven't I? No, I'm not. Have I missed a woofler tonight? And yes and no. There's been a couple of woofles, but the next one is in 25 minutes. I shall see if I can find the little Nixie tree, but I don't know if it'll perform very well because it's not been used for a while. Let me just see if I can grab it, but I thought that was the pinball machines. No, it wasn't. They'd be really loud. Just give me a second. I'm going to Garzini. I just bought myself a cheap USB microscope so I can actually read the text on dill chips. Look at one of the earwax. Someone mentioned this recently, and I've already bought one, but I've just ordered another one. A cordless Wi-Fi endoscope designed for cleaning out ears, because the Asians have a major problem with earwax, like a dangerously unpleasant problem, like really hard wax that just blocks their ears and causes pain. Thank you, Hobo. Much appreciated. It is, as we say, hot as Hell's Gates here in North Carolina, USA at the moment. That sounds unpleasantly hot. Mr. Eggcake's back hurts. Work. That's the peril of some jobs. That's a hell of a noisy dehumidifier. Can hardly hear mine. It's an older one, White Sapphire. The Descant drum ones are quieter, but these are more efficient in summer. What's the point of sex bots? Well, people in the urge to have sex will go and hand over the credit card details, Norm Swan. I think that's it. Right, give me a moment. Don't aim to do a super chat when I'm away, right? Because otherwise, we'll tell you what. I shall pause the chat by scrolling down slightly. I'll be back in a jiffy. I'm going to see if I can find the Nixie lamps. It is needing dusted off. Let's plug it in and see what happens. This won't necessarily look too bright in this ambient lighting level. Let's try not to pop the glass lid off the electrical connections. Right, tell you what, I'm just going to catch up before I plug this in. In fact, I'll plug it in and then catch up, because sometimes it takes a while to warm up. Oh, it's not bad, it's not bad. Oh man, I wish I could mentally delete stuff, Matabali. That doesn't happen. You just have to not let things prey in your mind. Kansas is apparently a little drizzly. Admiral Revan. That's reasonable enough. That's not too bad. I've got one of those handy for inspection of circuits in hard to reach places, indeed to the endoscope, but this one is a little pen-shaped one. It is designed for the ears, but so it wouldn't go in too deep, but the endoscopes are pretty good. You also get the Wi-Fi ones, which actually you plug a separate webcam into, and it's just a little module. Hold on. Do I have one? No, I sure saw one recently. Right, tell you what, I'm going to turn the lights off. Bots are awesome. Great Lord, put the program behind them can be quite awesome, to be honest. Too much buggery, Mr. Eggcake says. Jiffy, aka Condom. I'm not sure this 66 Fahrenheit in Stuttgart, says Michael. I've not seen a human seagull for a while. Has he been about? Thank you, Hobo Sullivan. The drink of vodka and coke is in honour of all of us. It is, indeed. Vodka and coke is a very simple and straightforward drink. Right, here is the neon flowers, but I'm going to have to turn the lights off for this. Because they sometimes, some of them are flickering, but I think it has to be on for a while before it really starts taking off, before they start doing their thing. It still looks okay, doesn't it? Hold on, I shall take the glass cover off, revealing electrical connections, and you can hear the capacitors. That is the piezoelectric capacitor effect you're hearing there. I don't think it's the neons. Let's shove electrical connections into my ears during a live stream. That'd be a great idea. Yeah, it's going to take a while before the flowers really kick off. It takes a while before they start nixing properly. They have to sort of warm up before they start doing it. But it's not bad. Maybe I should make a Neon Nixie supercomputer. I've already got a Neon supercomputer somewhere, but maybe I need to do a new, bigger version. I shall put this down on the floor and try not to kick it. And let it's starting to get more active now, but the light is coming back. Watch your eyes. There we go. The light is back. Would probably bug me a bit with that noise. You could adjust the components, use different styles of capacitors to tame that down. It tends to be the ceramic capacitors that are like that. What was the effect you said? Piezoelectric, Harris. Chalk. P-I-E-Z-O. Developed, well, not pioneered, didn't develop it. Researched extensively by Marie Curie's husband, Pierre Curie. Reported the vault. You can report it as much as you like. They're just everywhere. If people had been reporting them, they would have gone now. But they keep changing. They keep. There are companies that specialise in trying to find ways round YouTube and inventing new ways to get comments in that won't be detected, including setting up bots that establish a reputation for themselves by just copying other people's comments. But then once it's established that they're not a bot, then they'll start dropping a little payload of spam. I already have more than enough pizza, thank you. There is no need to send pizza. Piezoelectric contact microphones are fun and transducers 45 RPM. Ever carbonated vodka? I think I have I have. Ironically, the gay vodka, the Stolichna, which was the Harvey Milk vodka. Someone must fall for it. Someone does, Norm Swan. You'd be surprised how dumb people are. That's the reason the Nigerian prince wanting to send money, give us all your bank details, is still around, because people still do it. Would you like anything sent from Scandinavia? Cruel Quartus. Yes, overalls and candy. No, don't do that. It'd be bulky. There was a rainbow bottle, I remember. Is that still in the cupboard? I don't know. The Harvey Milk bottle. Hobo Sullivan says, I appreciate Clive's supercomputer badge. You can have one from Mousie's shop online and Etsy. He does them in a selection of colours. You can bet the chipmunk who says, I wonder how far wrong you have to go in life to think that is a valid way of making money. No different to many other seemingly credible organisations that also rely on deception to make money. NIC, EIC, and others. No difference, really. I wonder if the Queen has it in a glass like this, or if it's a pint glass she takes it in. Stolly. Indeed, Stolly. Frank Nedobete. I've seen Techmoan's videos on them. Perhaps a Clive video as well. I'm usually under influence while watching his videos. What's Techmoan made video about of? How is it the Harvey Milk vodka, Clive? Let me see if I can find that bottle. Hold on. No, I don't think it's here. Uh, Stolichnia, Stolichna vodka released a bottle at Pride showing the rainbow flag, and it was had a picture of Harvey Milk in it to basically commemorate him for what happened. Harvey Milk was a very popular. Was it San Francisco? Was he one of the mayors or something like that? And a rival who was quite religious didn't like him, shot him. As happens. Wow, politics. Candy overalls. I'm not sure that would be terribly practical. Big Rig Trig. I have a hankering for meatballs and raw. I mean, it's a sensible enough combination. The Indian Microsoft refund. I mean, it's still going on. And simple scams, people contacting people and saying, give us your bank details. Some of them are quite complex, actually. Some of them are complex. They deliver letters that look like they're from your bank saying that you have to move it to a different account or something like that. And people may actually do that. People have to be wise. What can I say? People aren't necessarily wise. The killer shot both the mayor at the time and Harvey, who was a city councilman. That's a city official councilman, yeah. I think I remember that. Yeah, city supervisor. That's the one, Kate Incredible. Where's Wally? He was here a while ago, but he's gone again, Mr. Eggcake. If you ever get a letter from your bank, just go there in person, Weasel Box. And if you ever get a notification, especially, it's so disturbing when you get something like, I placed an order for something using PayPal, and then right after it, just by coincidental timing, got that your PayPal account is suspended. And it was like you're thinking, could that have happened? The answer is to go to PayPal directly or your bank site directly. Don't follow their links because the links are usually made of rogue characters and misleading. But I do have to tell you guys. You guys know all this. But we have to look after the norms. Wizard White Beard, Mr. Eggcake. Is this white? It's kind of not really white, is it? It's not like super, super white. My bank is on the other island, Tom Houston. I have a bank account in the UK and here, just because, well, that's how it works, isn't it? And I've got my online PayPal account. It's all complicated these days. Oh, do you know what? I went out to Ramsey Sprint Fest, which is a festival here. They have the Ramsey Sprint during the TT, which is just basically straight line speed test with digital scoring. And I went afterwards. I thought, oh, I have a snack quite fancy. The special fried rice in the Chinese place. The Chinese place would only accept cash. They would not accept any digital form. Get the feeling that they're going to lose a lot of business that way. Are they losing more business than they're avoiding tax by perhaps not putting it through for that reason? Because there's a reason they're not accepting digital payments. Maybe they're too accountable for them. Oh, well, they're the ones that are losing out because everybody's gone digital these days. Paul Slipman says, I wonder if the Queen gets Indian Windows support phone calls. Maybe she does. Maybe she just signed over the whole country to them. Talking Willie Arma, a drag race. Well, it is effectively a drag race. It's just, there's a single track with the infrared beams and the start lights, and then the scoreboard at the end. And anything can race. You can race in a hoverboard if you want, but a lot of people build custom bikes that are very long with the anti-flip bars at the back, and they're just designed purely 100% for acceleration. Luke Lovett, I had a text message saying the post office had tried delivering something and missed me on a Sunday. Yeah, see, they don't really think this through, do they? But then again, they're just blanket spamming, aren't they? And talking of Drag Race, the Isle of Man, the repressed Isle of Man. Is this camera level? It's not absolutely 100% level. Maybe I should have done that earlier on, shouldn't I? The Isle of Man, which had very, very poor rights in the past, and major dominance, religious people all just dirty buggering bastards. God will, punish you and you will burn in hell forever. It's notable last year. So last year they had their explosively first Pride because the COVID messed up the first attempt at it, and it just was like unbelievable. And then the churches also in the same year reported that due to diminishing figures, they were going to need more funding for the government, or they would pull their non-tax-paying churches out. Bye, Church of England. Don't slam the door on the way out. That's going to upset the Christians. My apologies. It's just how it is. But this year, they just advertised the Villa Theatre, the Gaiety Theatre in the Villa Marina, just advertised a show with drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, and it instantly sold out. And it's like, God, things have changed a lot. Things have changed an awful lot. Ian Paisley, it did sound like Ian Paisley, didn't it, James Speakman? Rantometer, it has, Phil in the kitchen. The rantometer has twitched slightly. I'm Christian spiritualist, that's fine with me, says Steve. Technically speaking, I'm Presbyterian. Church of Scotland. Daddy was a church elder. He never let me go to communion. I get the feeling maybe he knew something. Drag rarely means gay, though. It doesn't. Drag means lots of different things. Evolution. And besides, in theatres, it's not the first time there's been someone in drag, because pantomime, it goes back hundreds of years, that it's always been a British tradition that the lead male character would be played by a woman and the dame would be played by a man. It's just this bizarre thing that's some of the best entertainment there is. Has a little man pooped out? DC Allen. I'm not really sure. Will the cat. I watch Clive The Chromatic rants and opinions. Well, watching the figures, the rants, unfortunately, watching Fran having one of her frants made me realise that it's not a great thing. While some people might be amused, it doesn't make good entertainment. One of my favourite swear terms from science fiction is Pope's boobs. Okay, Furbear, I've never heard that one. Ladies years back could not work on the stage. That may be the reason that some of the females were not allowed. It's just this strange, bizarre thing. It's so old-fashioned. But we're going back in that direction. Keep in mind that two people doing a job, a man and a woman, the woman will get paid less. That's not totally acceptable, is it? Really. Still, it's behind us. Fran can be an angry old lady at times, but then I can be an angry old man at times, and Dave is always angry. That's fine. That's what you're going to be like when you're old. Fran's channel, Fran Lab, Floydian Pink. Fran Lab. Make sexy noises, Mr. Eggcake says. Is that good enough? I don't know what a sexy noise is. Really, I don't know. BedgeCon, I cannot donate. Tried to, but not able to. I love your videos and what you do. I can't send people super chats from here in the Isle of Man. It's blocked. It depends what country you're in. Especially when women tend to work harder. Women have their own niche skills. Women are super analytical and make fantastic research scientists. They're also more patient than men, which is helpful. Clive's voice will one day be used for a sex boy. Katie Incredible, because of the amount of videos I've made, it's almost certain that somebody has got a file somewhere that they've used, I was going to say deep throat. That's not right, is it? Deep fake. That's the one. That's the correct one, not deep throat. Going red. Yes, what was I saying? Anyway, that is deep fakes. They're going to do it. And the moment they're doing that thing, hi, I'm Joey, and you probably can't tell that I'm fake. 98% of people can't tell they're listening to a synthetic voice. Well, I can. Jesus, it's rubbish. There's no character to it. Deep throat, deep fake, that would be very niche. That will happen. Do you know the worst thing is that will happen to celebrities where your virtual reality sex bot that you have sex with in virtual reality will be a celebrity and they may be dead. Not the one you're having sex with, obviously, but, well, maybe. But people are going to be used for sexual experiences in the future. Robbie the Robot, I'm not sure. That's the replicator. I don't think you're supposed to put your penis in that. But, you could. Uh, yes. Anyway, that's why the Queen drinks Dubonnet. Next drink is going to be Tango. You know when you've been tangoed. That advert that got pulled because the kids were slapping each other with such force it burst eardrums. Yes, indeed. It seemed like a good marketing idea at the time. Okay, do I go for rum? I will go for rum. Rum. Rum and tango. Excellent. All sounds very Blade Runner. It's very Blade Runner, James Speakman. That's already here. Because if we ended up homeless, we would have power banks and solar panels. We'd probably hide them. We'd probably tap into lampposts. We'd steal power. We'd find ourselves a nice place. Do you know someone was found? A sign worker took a panel off the sign and found there's a wee door at the back and a maintenance door. Someone was actually living inside one of the signs because it had heat and light. I thought I'd my own Metal Mickey by now. It's not very versatile, quite a clumsy big robot, but that's okay. Let's try this tango. Music. Cat. Indeed, you can live in a van. Adam is back. Hello, Adam. I burned 2,000 calories today. I left my food in the oven for too long. That's reasonable enough. Happy Little Fox, aka Benji. Is it time to get the inflatable out? But that's the thing. Like, I've been encouraging. Do you remember in the old days, well, nowadays even, you see the people who have ended up homeless for no real fault of their own, it's the people that made them homeless that are the real problem, but picking up cigarette ends so they can basically get all the tobacco out of them and make themselves cigarettes. Nowadays, I'm encouraging people to pick these up, disposable vapes, because they contain the lithium cells. So we're basically scavenging things out the gutter and taking the technical components out of them. But we also have the option, if we want, to refill them and put our own liquid in them and recharge the battery off that solar panel with a TP4056 module. It's going a bit weird. Chapel Chick did live out the van at the end. Not the great way to end, actually, White Sapphire. Chapel Chicks was a regular here, and Susanna. And she ended up, she was a truck driver, but a gate blew open, and it was a big metal gate, and it crushed her ankle. And she ended up out of work, and then she ended up, because she was renting accommodation, she ended up out of home, and she ended up living in a van. And then it turned out she had cancer. It was all rather grim at the end. We followed it all through to the end. Very, very sad. Poll about rants. We could will the cat. Hold on, this is a serious poll. Do you like YouTuber rants? There we go. That covers everybody. That's Dave, Fran, and me ranting. And Naomi Wu has been ranting recently as well. There's your poll. I'm going to puff this now. Nicotine. I can hear thumping in the background. It's the music from Sprintfest. June's kind of organised that, I think. Oh my God, so many freaking batteries. It is so many batteries. I need to do a test. Some people are saying that they're not lasting for many charge cycles. Are they charging them properly? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to put some through long-term tests. I could have been doing that. Has Glen Alden Shedman now been evicted? Oscar S. Was that the guy in the Isle of Man? They demolished it, I think. They evicted him, demolished it, if that's the guy that I'm thinking of. Not really sure. Yes, you do like the rants. That's odd. 2 minutes of Woofle. It is Woofle time. Official Woofle time. Set your clock, Liz. It's Woofle time. I shall step back. The little neon thing is getting better. I'll show you at the end. Maybe I'll show you at the end. Maybe I'll just completely forget it's there. Maybe I'll kick it and break the glass. Woofle. Woofling. Fireballs. Pause. Look at the replay. Quite a good fireball. Woofle. Woofling in my house. So you don't have to woofle in yours, although there are plans on Thingiverse for the woofler. So you can download it, but obviously don't make one because they're terribly dangerous. Rants are good for MH. MH? Yes. Everybody's shouting woof. Yes, in a way it's a woofle. A woofle. Oh, they found a pair of glasses recently. Do you know what I saw recently? I thought it was quite interesting. Almost tempted to try it. Pair of glasses. Dark glasses here. Can I still read? No, I can't. They're not reading glasses. But the advantage is that you can't actually tell that I'm looking down now. You can, because you can see through lenses, can't you? Yes, you can. You can tell I'm looking down there and thinking, mental health? Yes. And woof 4468. Has this become the bear channel unexpectedly? What I came across recently is a device that you stick to your mobile phone and it does a full eye test on you, including the astigmatism and everything, the little lines that line up and also the focus and things like that. That's odd. And then you can actually order prescription glasses based on this unit that sticks to your phone. It's quite an expensive-ish unit, but it could be quite useful. Thank you, Goran. Much appreciated. Not sure I'm going to get in the regular 12 hours today, says Megavoltmeister. That's a long shift. Is a rant just an opinion? I'm not really sure. Got very strong opinions. The older you get, the more ranty you get. That's grumpy old men indeed, and ladies. We get grumpier because maybe we're just more cynical. Maybe it's the upper end of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And we all want to blow up the government, probably. Frog says, replacing the stock 350 milliamp hour cell and Bluetooth speakers with 600 1200 milliamp hour cells, they've held up fine in over a year of use. Were they salvaged? Because, to be honest, I've not tested this myself. I have recharged some of the cells. Oh, this is the rechargeable one. I've tested some of these and they seem to take a full charge. And I've tested some recharging it and putting my own nicotine-free liquid in. And I've used it until it's flat again. Then I've recharged it and used it until it's flat again, recharged it. I've not had a problem with this. I wonder if they're charging them correctly. I can't see that a lithium cell could efficiently discharge properly if it was a rechargeable one, if it wasn't able to be recharged efficiently as well. It's odd thinking that non-rechargeable lithium cells actually contain a lot more lithium and are more dangerous in that sense. Well, are they more dangerous? They are if you burst them open and drop them in water. But the lithium, the non-rechargeable lithium cells has so much more lithium than the rechargeable ones that can be used hundreds of times. They do have the marginal advantage of a higher capacity, but when you think about it, it's not in relation to the quantity of lithium used. Too old and tired for a filter. Keep getting more depressed as people rant to me more and more. Weezabox, don't get depressed. It's fine. Don't hang about people rant too much. Let me know if I rant too much. I was right to repair, got zapped in California. It's going to happen, Grant Rennie. It's all down to money. And now you have a nicotine addiction. I use this one is filled with non-nicotine. As is this one. And I will say that when you go to a nicotine one, there's definitely something else there. When you go, this is nicotine. And it gives you a little alcohol-like hit. But the novelty is wearing off very quickly. This is also replaced with non-nicotine. This is nice technology, this one. It's a nice feel to hold this one, but it is non-nicotine. Bill Murray. Has he died? Bill Murray. Ah. What? Years active, 1973 to present. Why? What's up with him? Tell me, what's happening with Bill Murray? We can't have a Ghostbuster. Ill. Oh, you come to Edinburgh? Yes. I was in today and I see the stands going up for the two. Chris Roberts, yes, it's going to be quite an intense installation. There's going to be quite a lot more than normal and other stuff as well. That's what I've been working on recently. Interesting. Been researching components. Novelty wearing off, tolerance increasing. Yeah. The novelty is wearing off. The tolerance is definitely increasing. Cheesy Chicken Grand, the Elf Bar are strong. They're putting the maximum they can in, and they're engineering this. They are engineering that. What I was saying about the replaceable cartridges, this one is the original, and it's like overpowering. It's like it goes whoosh to the head, and it tastes. Your mouth tastes like sweetener. That can't be safe. There's going to be a backlash in these. And when you replace it with another flavoured e-liquid with no nicotine, it's like really weak. Yeah, how to shoot yourself in the foot, vape industry. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. So let me scroll down and see if I can find out what's happening with Bill Murray. Oh, is it one of these fake things? Edinburgh meetup, Chris Roberts. Yeah, that's planned. And possibly a Glasgow meetup. When I go, I'm going to go in advance. So we'll try and do a Glasgow meetup because I think it's all past now, really. I think it's safe to meet up now, Chris Roberts. But the Edinburgh meetup will most likely happen at the usual place if it's still open. It will be open. It's a Weatherspoons pub. Oh no, they were sacking people. No, it's fine. It's a big roomy place. We can go there and we can meet. Don't get hooked on that stuff. Doing my best, Kevin Harstey will not do my best. The novelty is wearing off. It just makes me feel sick now. So no. Free backstage tickets to the two? No, Cheesy Chicken Grand. Can't really do that. Much as I'd like to, it's the allowance of just bringing friends and showing them behind the scenes is not. I can't really do that for large groups of people or large numbers of people. Don't underestimate the power of nicotine. I don't think it's as bad, Willie Arma, as cigarettes, but you never know. I'll let you know if I get addicted when I try giving up and seeing if I can give up. The Chipmunk is the only big place big enough to actually have a meetup. Much as I'd love to bring everybody into the VIP corporate suites and the two, that's not going to happen. Maybe. There's a big room place, it's called a P&O Ferry. What? Weed does tolerate the stoners, yes. Bed not be discover new eyes. I'm not sure what that means. I've still got my EMT ticket, Edinburgh Military Duty, 1967. Why? That's quite some time ago. I was 2, White Sapphire. Is there a date? I know someone who will want to come from London, Chris Roberts. The date is sometime in August. I can't plan this far in advance. The job is going to feature some changes to technical equipment. I don't know how maintenance intensive it's going to be yet. It's very hard to predict until the job is settled in, and that's the only point I can actually arrange a meetup. I can't plan that far. Can you leave the back door open, Clive? Jonathan Hughes, of a military protected establishment? No. No, I can't. With so many, not just CCTV, but super ultra high definition intelligence CCTV. No. The only thing I have left is coffee and chocolate. Doesn't sound too bad. Will the cat? Chips would be quite good. Potato fries. This week I learned that in Denmark they refer to high-vis trousers as knickers. Because we were searching on Patreon for high-vis knickers. They are available. You can get high-vis underpants and knickers. They occasionally appear. I'm not sure why you'd wear them. It doesn't seem like having the reflective tape next to your groin would actually be quite pleasant, because it's a bit sweaty. Is it bad? We could all fit in the Queen's box. The Queen's box no longer exists as such, the Chipmunk. There is a prominent seat, though. There is the salute taker's seat. It's a very expensive seat, but it is nonetheless just an ordinary seat. It has a light on it, and it has a queue light. We'll just meet up at your gaff, Clive. We've all got your address, electron box. But different accommodation this year as well, I believe. Closer to the job, which is a relief because, well, I liked the previous accommodation the last few years, but all the buses are stopped by the time we finish, and it's a long walk. It was a lot. We were clocking up a lot of miles. Dennis, the Queen's box smell musty. Yes, not by the more worse by the time I finish with it. No, there is no taking a dump in the Queen's box anymore. That is true, but they have more toilets now. Put a whoopee cushion in that seat. That would go every time they sat down after a salute. It's very odd. It's something I'm not overly comfortable with. The prominent individuals can sit in that seat like the Bank of England, director of the Bank of England or Royal Bank of Scotland, and the military will salute them. That's telling. 2 hour stream tonight. It is a 2 hour stream. It is ending in approximately half an hour. Just, just over half an hour. Is the sound weird today? The sound is always weird. Rust Collector. If it's clicking and popping, that sometimes happens. Can't really do much about that. Did Vince go for the spark throwing effects? I'm not sure, Kevin Harsty. Some things have changed. I'm not sure what's happening. It's going to be a big, huge surprise. I hope he hasn't gone for the spark throwers, because it's a very humid environment, the Embraer 2. Prone to quite stormy weather, and the spark throwers use fine powdered titanium, I think, and it blows it through a heater element, like a hot air paint stripping gun, to ignite it. And that's going to make it very clumpy. Have you asked the military folk how they feel about that, Raven Looney? The military folk are obedient. They're programmed to be obedient. It surprised me greatly when I started working the show a long time ago that they are literally programmed to be obedient. That is it. One of the most disturbing things was Scotland was going through its independence referendum thing, and I asked one of the military individuals what he thought of the whole independence thing. And he said in a very strong English accent, if you get independence, we're going to come and bomb you. And it was like, oh, really? Right. Well, that's reassuring. Good job that we know about that. Cold spark is cold spark, Jonathan Hughes. You could put your hand in front of it. It's tiny little sparks that won't set far too much. Mr. Phil, we did miss you. Have you ever put vape juice in a fog machine? I'm sure people have, Dale Horton, because it's the same stuff, and put out massive quantities of nicotine into the public. Will you live stream from the 2? I'm going to see what I can do, Chris Elzinga. I can't guarantee it, because the Saturday stream, I will be live streaming, but it's most likely going to move to the Sunday, when theoretically, if everything's going to plan, I get a day off. I don't know what's happening, because things are changing. There's a lot more tech. I would like to stream from backstage at the Tattoo. I'd like to stream from the crew and control room, but there's a limit to what I'll be able to do. And if I'm on call, well, I am on call while I'm there, a live stream will end up getting probably cut short if something goes wrong because I have to run out and fix stuff, and I can't take the camera with me. Too much backstage. It can be done in a controlled manner if it's planned in advance. I can't just run around with the camera. My dad came up to Film Tattoo a few years ago before the video side went mad. You may have worked with him. If you thought the video side has gone mad, wait till you see this year, Chris Roberts. I may have come across your dad. He would have been with the BBC, perhaps? But I don't know if the BBC are doing it this year. Hmm. The tattoo is very loud. Laura Farrell. We went to a tattoo in Cardiff, not Edinburgh, and it cured my little brother of his fear of loud noises. Because it's a military event, if people complain, you say, well, that's what they are exposed to. The soldiers are exposed to when they're protecting you. So they do, this military tend to say louder, louder, louder until there is a point that we stop. But we have two pyro teams on the tattoo. The effects pyro team and the main pyro team up top. It's an interesting job. It's a very wild job, very weird. If you can't do the stream, can you make another video of behind the scenes? I do intend to do that, Tony Peters. What happened last year, well, the last time it ran, was I wanted to make videos, but just because we're busy, I couldn't make them. And the final day I was thinking, I really should make this, so I just ran about with the camera. It turned out a great idea. Should have done it. Very hard to control the volume. The volume is absolutely microphone poppingly loud. I know you have a lot to do, but I'll be hearing from you soon. I have read your email, ELW. I will get in touch shortly. I'll have to dig back down to find it. Refuse BBC entry unless they pay you a fee, Callum Rowley. What actually happened is the BBC just assumed they were getting the job when it was put out to tender, apparently, and didn't even bother applying. So I'm not really sure who's actually got it this year. I think the producer who normally did it has retired. What do you think about soil extinction? I don't really know what you mean by that, Squeaky Badger. Votar 2M stereo, a 25-gram pouch tobacco lasts me 3 days. Vapes make me cough. That's what all my friends at the pub say, because a lot of them use the roll-up cigarettes and they say it lasts them ages. And they all say the vapes make them cough. Did they not cough when they started smoking? Dunno. Can you bring back more stage fireworks, Jonathan Hughes? There is a limit to what I can actually ship and take on the plane. But as long as Vince is chilled out this year, maybe we can do some pyro stuff in the job. I'm not really sure. Can I just say that the prominent pyrotechnicians at the tattoo are all female? That's another thing women do. They like blowing stuff up, apparently. Still have any proper power cans or power can popcorn? James Broken Tech. There may not be power cans this year, but we're keeping them. It may be an alternative that I cannot discuss at the moment until I'm there and see them, but we'll see what happens. Bedcon, can you talk about the house you was about to buy? It wasn't a house, it was a big industrial building, and it didn't really go through because there were too many doubts involved in that. Too many unanswered questions, and it was potentially going to be a risk buying it as an old building with unknown condition wood and walls and things like that and metal, so it was a bit dodgy. And because it was a high building with very poor access, especially at the back, because of another building that butts up to it with a flat roof that you can't really put scaffold on, there were lots of variables that just basically, yeah. Frogs, vapes clear your lungs out the crap that's condensed in them. I think that there is a possibly thing like that. There's going to be some, they're going to find there is some advantage to it, but they're probably going to find there's a disadvantage. My guess is that it's the chemical flavourings and sweeteners they're putting in them are going to be that causes the problem. And the fact they're putting benzoic acid in the nicotine salts. Pyrotechnical stuff on a plane, what could possibly go wrong? We've done that, Brian Cox. Well, actually mounting it on static planes that get dragged around the Esplanade and then blow up and stuff like that in the past. Mostly PRG again, Callum Rowley. Maybe working for a different company this year. Everything has changed. I'm not 100% sure. Everything, what is happening, don't know. It's going to be an exciting time. Like the chimney sweeping log, John Key, that's the log that you light and it's got chemicals in it and it loosens all the tar in your chimney and it drops down, but it's not really proven to work. That guy, hello to you. Has it sold? Kevin Hart say no, it is not sold and it's been taken off the market completely. I do try to encourage my friends to switch to vaping, but not necessarily these chemical ones. These are really suspicious. It took them many years to engineer cigarettes, Pat O'Mahony. But let's not talk about cigarettes. That's enough of that subject. Is it safe? What's safe? Going to see Brian Cox, live in September in Edinburgh, Harsh Chalk. Aha. The 2-hour stream is going to be less fun since it's too short for you to get drunk live, and you guys too, Nisai, because it would go very random at the end, and it was sometimes a bit of a struggle. But it's also because I'm shortening the stream a little bit because in the head up to the 2, because I'm not going to be able to do huge streams. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do huge streams. We'll see what happens. We'll play it by ear. I'll try and get Vince to come in this stream. We'll see what happens. Don't know if that's going to work. Heavy Diesel. My gloves caught fire on Friday while I was wearing them. Brake clean plus oxyacetylene, not a good combo. No, that's not good. What were you doing? Brake clean. You've been spraying refrigeration equipment with it. Some of that stuff you work on is very odd, Heavy Diesel. Really old, butchered up farm equipment. Quite a niche job. Canon cam? Well, we could fire a cannon with a camera. Oh shit. Yeah, no, excuse the language. I have to look for a replacement. Yeah, module for a control system. Yeah, anyway, that. BB Junkie, even a bit late, joining tonight. Drink to the victim of Tiananmen Square 33rd anniversary today. Could do. I'm not really sure about that. I don't really follow politics too much. Discover new eyes. I've been commenting and I'm an hour and 15 minutes behind with Caps Key. More wine. Indeed, it's easy done. It's sometimes when you start watching a live stream, YouTube is starting at the beginning of the live stream, even though the live stream is still running. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Electroshed says, Heavy Diesel, huge fan, keep the videos coming. Indeed. Interesting, it is interesting and odd. Do you make a decent living doing that though? Because it looks very sort of random and farmers have never really been super generous in payments, have they? But that's just maybe my experience. Raven Looney, yes, get Vince in, we can subject him to some textual molestation indeed. I can guess that the tank protester, Tiananmen Square, okay, that was a riot, was it not? And the police opening fire on people? I don't know. I'm going to have to search what that is. Hold on. Square. Protests and massacre. Do you know that during union unrest in the UK and Scotland, the English government sent up tanks to George Square? You can find images of that online to try and quash the rebellion against the supreme leaders. June the 4th incident, massacre, and accompanied by tanks fired at the demonstrators, trying to block military's advance into Tiananmen Square. All right. That's not nice. Estimates the death toll vary from several hundred to several thousand, with thousands more wounded. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Sometimes you have to stand up against governments, though. Then we shall drink to that. I was so happy to see Bluto earlier, Weasel Box. Bluto. As featured on BigClab.com website. Ah. Frogs, 45 RPM. I watched it happen now. Some Chinese people don't believe it happened. The conspiracy theorists, yeah. In every country, frogs didn't know you can watch live streams in over one speed. I just learned this. What happens when you get to the end? I didn't know that. Tanks the Scottish paid for. Indeed, Brian Wiggins. Wonder if it was Scottish steel that's using them. Don't know. I know I still need to email you those cool Bluetooth things. No, sure. I don't know. Can't remember. Weaselbox. I would like a slow colour changing supercomputer like Techbone has. Voltar 2AM stereo. I believe you can get the very same one from Evolution. The compression algorithm makes it very sort of lumpy looking in the Techbone videos. The CCP denies it happened. Well, yes. Good evening, John Payton. When you get caught up, it goes to normal. All right, okay, Mr. Technology, that's reason enough. What would Maggie Thatcher do? She would have been commanded tanks to fire, probably, but that's... Where can I buy uranium ore as a check source in the UK from United Nuclear? I think we'll ship it to you, Electron box. Along with super ridiculous, powerful magnets for killing people with... Can we get at least 2 weeks warning of meets in Scotland? I shall do my best, nuts and proud. Is this TikTok? It is kind of TikTok, James Payne. It's very shallow, yes. Do we know what happened to photonic conduction again, lighting desk? He keeps busy as an electrician, working for councils, so he's probably just busy. He just does bursts of videos. Any chance you'll do some more bench builds? Well, like the test tube lamps in the future. I like those. Better than the teardowns, but all are good. Oscar Wilde. They're less popular, the long videos. But I do have loads of questions and answers questions to answer. Bedgecon says woof. Is that like, which language is that for woof? Okay. I remember that there was a big thing happened at Edinburgh Castle, that they had a tour trip for the Chinese, that it was one of the first tour trips, and they brought them to Edinburgh Castle. And you're thinking, well, that's quite a radical move, that, you know, these rich people in China can now afford a tour and actually travel to other countries. And they turned up, and the bagpiper was standing there at the front of Edinburgh Castle, and he was shit. And it was like, just took the moment and destroyed it, quite frankly. But not to worry. It's odd. Everything is made in China. Good night, all, says Wetware. Good night. Woof, German, I know. Aha. Do they actually do that? Is woof said in different ways around the world? I've never really thought of that. Have I missed the far? Yes, you have, but there may be a woofle at the end, at 1:15. Such as Nayo for Japanese cats. Nyan cat. Chinese bagpipes, yes. They burst into flames when you use them, yes. It's okay, everyone. I'm here now, says Mark Hodgson. This is good. Glad you're here. A last Jaeger. The Jaeger's about to happen, Chris Elzinga, because it's going to be to the victims of Tiananmen Square then. I've pronounced that wrongly, haven't I? Tiananmen Square, probably. I shall try. It's in good thought. Or meow in Chinese, apparently. That would make sense. Is it Woofle or Woofle? It's Woofle. Whoofle. Looking for the photo tank in George Square seems it's taken a year before the strikes. Tons of misinformation. Check the Churchill Project site. Okay. But which misinformation do you believe, BB Junkie? Why was the square full of people and why are there tanks? I'm not sure. DC Allen, I'm just a bit pissed. Very bad in my pills, but what the fuck? Just as long as you're okay. It is time for a toast. To the victims of Tiananmen Square and other people around the world quenched by governments. That's gone political. Governments all go rotten. Big companies all go rotten. That's why companies should go bust after a while and start again. And they usually do. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen with councils and governments, but not to worry. There are fake pictures of George Square, but it did happen. Factories were using wartime rules over workers long after World War I ended. Floydian Pink. Here on the Isle of Man, they had mines, and the hours they worked down the lead mines were basically from dawn till dusk. I don't know if they saw daylight. Bedcon, here's smoking soda smoke and thinking I'll make it. It'll be fine. Tiananmen Square. Is that how it's pronounced, the last post? Tiananmen. Right, okay. Hold on. Let's do another one since we got spares after the Queen's different one. I'll just go back up and do that. To the victims of Tiananmen Square. But the biggest revolution is online. That's interesting. The fact we can discuss this globally is quite interesting. They should have worked nights down the pit. I think they pretty much were working day and night, 45 RPM. What are we talking about tonight, Fama? Everything. Weezerbox is chugging coffee. I thought I saw an ad from Ember 2, that happening this year. It is Cybermat. It is happening. It's going to be very different. Not sure how it's going to be. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of work. More rum. Frog says, it's funny Chicago is some of the worst gun violence in the nation, but I don't feel unsafe in 99% where I go because I'm the tech guy that everyone in all walks of life needs to fix their stuff. But what if they're angry when you don't fix it right? Then they might shoot you. They're not going to hear it in China. No, they're not going to see this in China. I've depleted my alcohol reserve, says 45 RPM. You can stock up later on. If you're pished, then maybe it's a good thing. Or you could convert a bag of sugar into vodka. Takes about a week, though. Actually, it takes a few days with the super yeast, the turbo yeast. When is the next MRE review video? I'm not sure, MRE Review King. I do have a very loose packed MRE, but not in an official pack. It's just the components. Might try that soon. You have demonetized the show mentioning the China thing. I don't really monetize this much anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Mike and Co, good evening to you. Although you should be aware the stream is ending in 11 minutes. Oh, Scruff Dog's taking his welder apart. Is that a traditional welder, though? It's not the electronic welder, is it? I'm not really sure. The electronic welders are quite interesting. Going to watch Clive YouTube poops after the stream. I heard there are big Clive YouTube. I think I'm on some of the YouTube poops. That's true. China, YouTube is banned Gatta's Linux. They don't want them seeing other alternative lifestyles of freedom and stuff like that, do they? They want it all controlled. Clive's not in the mood this evening. Biggest dick is, am I not in the mood? Is it something feel different? I'm not really sure. Will there be woofles at the two? There are always woofles, Spinkter, because, well, there'll be woofles from our big, huge gas burners, but I won't be triggering woofles in either the accommodation or the technical room owing to the use of smoke detectors, which is not terribly helpful. Ah. Been watching the Jubilee concert. It was quite emotional, really. What's that, a concert? I'm not really sure. I'll maybe catch it later, don't know. If it'll be on YouTube. Jenny D just caught us before we're done. First time to live stream. Ah. They usually go on a bit longer, but they've been cutting back by an hour recently, just to prepare for work, travel. Clive, yes, I'd say there is a change. Is it because I'm not drinking as much, Will the Cat? This has been slightly ranty and political, hasn't it, this stream? Which isn't the normal. It's usually kind of tries to be technical, but I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just because you're getting too used to them. Thank you, Gizzy Moe. Hi Clive, I think my stream was behind, but do you sell a PCB for the Nixie tree or a kit with caps, etc.? No, but the project is up there and it's all very straightforward to get the components. Talking of the Nixie tree, it is down here, it's giving it big licks now. I shall turn the overhead lights off here, well, the studio type lights, and bring up the Nixie tree. It's much more active now, it's all over the place. Let me tilt it on its end. It's dancing about quite the thing in there. So what this is doing, it's charging a capacitor, it's a relaxation oscillator, and it's discharging it through neons. But the neons, there are 6 neons in a flower shape, but they're all just in parallel. So randomly they'll flick between them because only one can be lit at a time. And when you initially make this, they must all be matched neons. And when you first make it, one will be dominant, but as it gets older, its voltage rises slightly until they're all equal, and then it just jitters about randomly, like a neon crackle tube. Neon crackle tube being the an effect. If I took this dome off, it would look better, wouldn't it? There. And it is making that notable purring noise in the capacitors. It's very low power. Each one of them is consuming less power than a typical neon indicator lamp. So this thing's power consumption is virtually nothing. I should put the dome over it. I think this came from Au Natural or something like that, this dome. Or did it come from TK Maxx? Not sure. It contained something else. I gutted it and then used it for my own thing. Light coming back. Light is back. Won't work with other colours of neons like green and blue very well, I don't think. Clive, do you pick a stream time before or when you start the stream? The stream normally starts at 9:05 p.m. here on the Isle of Man, but that depends where you are in the world. It's literally round the clock. It depends where you are. Like Australia, it would be like 9 in the morning. I'm going to try to use an induction heater for heating my hot tub, says Glenn Osborne. I don't think that's going to be very efficient. These days, I see a dead one. Sometimes some of them just don't light up, but later on they will. So it's not guaranteed they're all going to light because it depends how well matched they are. It's one of these things that it matures with time if you leave it on. And because it's super low power, you leave it on 24/7. Got the brother label printer you have, love it. Where's the best place to get refills cheap, Peter Harkins? eBay. The clone material is okay unless it's mission critical because you can't guarantee the adhesive is going to be as good as the original. But I've not really had any problems with them, the clone tapes. They've been fine. Anal relaxer. Biggest dickest, that would definitely relax your anus, yes. Did you see the video of the theatre curtain that dropped under its own weight as it was drenched by sprinklers because the fire alarm went off? Callum Rowley. I didn't, but the drench system If it's the curtain, if it got soaked, they already weigh a ton. They're just they're called tabs, possibly because they're tied with tabs at the top. You have to be really careful putting those curtains up. They're extremely heavy, really massively heavy. In the case of the theatre, they might just lower a bar. If it's one of the vertical lifting ones, they might lower a bar right to the ground, do all the tabs, and then lift it up. But see, when you have to take it up to put it on a track, you have to be very careful. You basically have to rope it up or winch it up. These things weigh a lot. And then you have to tie it off. But someone has to take the weight off it because you can't let it go at one end or it'll just snap all the tabs all the way along and rip along like a zip. Theatre curtains are complex. Also you get the steel fire curtains. That it's basic. It looks like a curtain, but it's actually a metal shutter comes down to isolate the stage from the audience for fire reasons. Less critical these days. There's less to go and fire these days. Scrolling, catching up. I'm a wee bit behind here. Good job, Evolution, on getting rid of the sex robot. They're very rude, aren't they? Warning mini rant, says Mr. Phil. Why does everyone think $10 a month is a great price for a patron? If I want to support 10, my favourite people, it will cost me 1,200 a year. It's too much. I like Clive's plan. I'm going to be making a change on Patreon, but I'm worried about doing it. I'm on what they call the founder plan, which was just the initial system with tiers that they thought, the tiers, the multiple levels, which I don't really use. I think it's rude setting levels. I think it's greedy setting levels. I'd think people should contribute what they can afford if they wish to, and $1 or $2 is absolutely fine. I'd actually recommend just $1 or $2. But I'm going to be changing it and going to one of their plans because I think mine's a bit outdated and it probably suits me better. I'm just going to get rid of the tiers. It's just going to be it's going to get rid of the residue of that tier system, hopefully. But I'm worried that it's going to mess up because you know what Patreon's like. It's not a stable platform software-wise. I don't know if you guys are getting that at the moment, that it's doing that, hey, enable cookies. And every time you go to the site, it wants you to tick the box, the cookies. That's annoying. It's done that before. Make Patreon free. The point of Patreon is to provide independence from YouTube for when I get my channel deleted. It's going to happen at some point, isn't it? I've still got that warning notice in my page about what was it? Oh, it was my Safety Lichtenberg video, the first one, that got taken down for a safety violation, even though it was a safety video, just because the algorithm did it and nobody really checked, and it's still got the warning up there. Warning, you're under warning. Cheapest Patreon I can choose is £2 plus tax per month. Nisai, there are ways, once I got rid of this thing, once I've gone through, I'm waiting until they do the next pay cycle before I do it so it doesn't fuck it up big time, because I just don't trust them. But you can just do $1. It's just ignore the tiers. It's just a residual thing from the past. Frogs, I've tossed my favourite YouTubers a few bucks from time to time simply because not like you can't pirate even your content. Reasonable enough. Same here with persistent cookies pop up. Yeah, their programming department isn't very good. They had a security breach early on, which hopefully gave them a good boot up the arse for security. Do you watch ADV podcast? I do not. William Pierce, hello. The stream is theoretically ending in a minute. I shall have a poll. Do you want it to go on for more 15 minutes more? Well, actually, you know what? I don't need to do a poll. If you want to watch it for 15 more minutes, you're welcome. If you don't, then don't. It's your choice. I'll go on for another 15 minutes. I use Brave browser, which blocks all ads. Glenn Osborne. I get mixed thoughts about that. I've used ad blockers in the past, but on the other hand, that's what pays for the content, really, and the delivery. Because keep in mind that you're watching a video right now that is being streamed from some random server in some random location in the world, and that all costs a lot to keep running. Red Phallum saw a short of someone making a table with Lichtenberg on it, said to see the description for a link to the full video. I've not made a short in a while. I don't do it too often, but you can be assured they'll be good quality shorts. Can we have an awkward moment for the people leaving now? Now, about the awkward moment, some people say, missed the awkward moment. In reality, I press end and then go, awkward moment, and I get the full thing, and the other people get the full thing, but some people it just ends instantly as soon as I touch that button. Not sure why that happens. Oh, Dennis says, did you watch a YouTube video about the world's biggest bell being run recently? Asking because of a YouTube notification. No, I didn't watch that. Could you recommend a good disco light for a living room? The last post. To be honest, I'd recommend something like a ripple projector, which is a subtle. It doesn't flash and strobe, because most of the disco lights just strobe and flash all the time. They're quite disturbing. It depends what you want. I like your short, says Mr. Eggcake. I like my short. I've just ordered all these shorts. I just noticed the shorts I've got are the typical holster pocket shorts popular in Europe, where they have the separate loose pockets in the front. And I just noticed that in the factory, both sides have been made by different people, and one is a completely different height and position than the other. It doesn't matter. It's fine. They're pockets. You did the shredder caught fire. That was not a short, technically speaking. Tony Peters stuff. The reason I just released that recently is because it was flagged up as not suitable for most advertisers for some reason. And I asked for a review, and it took over a week for the review. It's fine. YouTube is a different animal when I launch it in a private tab. It is Voltar 2M stereo because it won't be specifically targeting things. Cargo shorts. They're not cargo shorts, Chris Elzinga. Well, they are. They've got cargo pockets, but they also have the front pockets. The little sort of loose, flat pockets in the front, like little holster pockets. Sphincter called cargo shorts in the US different to the cargo shorts. I don't know if you guys have these similar things. I do notice that nowadays the American work trousers are getting knee pad pockets in them, which is good because they've had those in Europe for a long time, and they will save your knees. If you're working, if you're kneeling on hard ground, put pads in your knee pad pockets. You'll thank me later. It does fuck your knees. Working on your knees does mess your knees up. Have you seen the Parambiforenovia? I don't even know what that is. Parambiforenovia? What is that? Parm-B4N. Hold on. Parm-B4N. Nope, that didn't come up. Looks like there aren't any great matches for your search. That's okay. The pockets, I call them Spaniel's lugs. They're floppy. Snickers seem to have... I think Snickers started that one. Snickers make shorts, work pants, not the chocolate. Willie Armour. Very expensive work pants. Almost like a status symbol. All the facilities management companies like to give their workers neat logos and Snickers pants to make them look like, they must be a really good tradesman because they've got the right clothing on. Parmigiana. Parmigiana? I don't know what that is. Pished, sorry. That's all right. Oh, Aiden's mobile. Clive on Schneider contactors. What is the continuous current rating for the auxiliary contacts? It's not that high. Any idea? I know they're usually for control signals, but plenty of project using them. You're going to have to look at the manufacturer's data sheet for that. They are just for control use, but they can still switch a bit of current, but they're not as beefy as the main contacts. Trust me on the sunscreen, says Norm Swan. Is this working outdoors? Knee pads prevent carpet burn. They do in a way, yes. Richard Perrott. I wore Carhartt in the UK when I was in film post-production over there. Carhartt is a fashion brand here. I do have Carhartt overalls. The bib overalls are just terrible for beards. The little buckles actually snag your hairs when you move. and it drags your beard hairs out. It's odd for the image of American workers has always been the big beards. I think that it's odd that Carhartt's overalls are not compatible with beards. Will streams return to full length upon your return? Voltar 2M Stair asks. Not sure. I don't. I get the thing. I get the feeling that if you make too long a stream, I mean, this one, most people, if you look at the statistics, most people drop in for 20 to 30 minutes and drop out again, or just keep dotting out. It can be too long. Then you get other streams, like, say, for instance, like South Main Auto, What's Up Wednesday. He'll have a 1 hour stream, and you've got to be there for that hour. That's the only time it's going to happen, then it's going to end, and it's more in the moment. These are a different style of stream. You'll miss your knees when they're gone, Norm. So I tell you what, going downstairs these days sometimes is quite sore. I think my knees are wearing out. That's pretty bad. That's annoying. I don't think we were intended to work for 40 hours a week or more, 7 days a week for a good chunk of our life. Dickies are the best. They're both ugly and cheap. Dickies have failed over here, Spinkter. Dickies are fine. The proper American Dickies, but over here it was just an ordinary polycotton overall, just made in China, and they were double the cost of other overalls, so the brand kind of failed here. The only thing that was Dickies about them was a little label that said Dickies. They weren't that great. Aren't you in a bungalow? Yes. Dulleth Trading, indeed, Furbear. I still have the shorts that you sent, thank you. With the ballroom facility, the wide gusset, so you can crouch down without squashing your testicles. I've enough trouble only going downstairs a month or two. Sucks, fan plant. And yet I can go upstairs 2 at a time, no problem. It's going downhill or downstairs in the morning before my knees have evened out. That actually is quite uncomfortable. I hope that's not. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Don't particularly want new things. My knee already likes to remind me I'm mortal and I'm only 27. This is bad, Redhead Frost. I can guess it is quite demanding. Imagine the linemen who climb the poles all the time with cables over their shoulders. I have a great knee surgeon for you. I don't want to see a knee surgeon, garbled user. Is that Bluto in the background? It is, Fama. It is indeed. Nisai says, yes, I'm now a patron. Thank you, Nisai. Much appreciated. Crouch without the ouch, and it's always bears they show in their adverts as well. Yeah, it's the Dulleth Trading. Very strange. Night all, time to go, says Did You Horse. Good night. Sleep well. Clive, in your free time, look up complex PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Is that what it is? Garbled user. 38 hours when I was a trainee. Dickies closed in the UK and blamed it on Brexit. The clothes used to be made in Mexico years ago. A lot was Chinese made at the end in the UK. The thing is, their overalls just weren't actually exciting. I do tend to wear Dickies Red Hawk shorts. They are just standard cargo shorts without the pockets in the front. And they were affordable. Their bib and brace overalls were European, as in very narrow, nothing like the big wide bib with the high back of the proper American overalls and the wide leg. They were just skimpily cut. It was almost like, let's make them as cheap as we can make them. Likewise, their overalls weren't that exciting. Initially, they were the American style overalls, but then they just became another generic imported overall. These things matter. I sit in a hot tub to soothe my knees, H mark. Does that help? The last post, I've loved these streams in the beginning. I always get some treats in especially for it. Big thank you to Clive. You're welcome. But where's Popeye? Popeye's not involved, camera. Tim.com. Only Bruto, because he's got a beard and he's big. Electron box, when trousers stick to the back of your knees in a hot loft is unpleasant. Just working in a hot loft is unpleasant altogether, particularly if they're full of fiberglass. I got shingles at 27. 35 doing AV networking it isn't fun anymore. Yeah, frogs, that sometimes happens. Kojim says my new knees are better than the ones God gave me. This is interesting. I would never have thought when I was a kid that they'd be making replacement. Somewhere there's a factory making replacement bits for humans, like knees. Greetings back to the USA, Stefan Schwartz. Gizmo, thank you. Thanks, Clive. Found everything I need from my Nixie tree. Will be a good project for next weekend. A nice display for my cabinet of electronics. That's good. But I don't think God really intended our knees to be used to quite the extent they're used because let's face it, Stone Age man and women would not really have worked 40-hour weeks doing heavy lifting all the time. Humans are not designed for this. It's all wrong. And then you can retire at the age of 65. Well, it's actually 70 now, isn't it? Or is it 75 or is it 80? They keep moving it up to try and get more people to die before they get a pension in the UK. We wear out. That's why I'd suggest, if you're technical, going freelance early on, just basically just bumming around, working here, working there, skiving a bit, work a bit, skive a bit, work a bit, skive a bit. Have your retirement all the way through your life. I've no intention of retiring. I'm quite happy to work until I drop dead or get go loony or something like that. Whatever happens, I'm not sure. You can't predict that. Frogs, you can't retire. I don't want to retire. What's the point of retirement? If you enjoy your job, it shouldn't be that. You shouldn't need to retire. Thank you, Slonik. Much appreciated. Mr. Eggcake, bumming. Really? I've heard damn good feedback in turmeric for knee pain. Worth a go unless you take blood thinners, but check the doc. I have turmeric here, Jenny D. Maybe I should try that. What is bumming? Biggest dickus. I'm not sure, but it may well go with biggest dickus. Just like me freelancing till I can. Yes, absolutely, Kerry. It helps if you're single, but hey, you can do it as a family as well, but just bum around, take time off. I mean, you're obviously going to be doing technical stuff when you're off anyway, but you know what? You're doing it in your own time. You get up in the morning. Do I have to go to work today? No, I should go into my workshop after breakfast. Litterpicker says, I don't think the problem is how we use our knees so much as how long we use our knees it is. Stone Age man would have been dead before his knees wore out, and he wouldn't have been working 8 hours a day. He'd have done what he had to do. Take it with black pepper. I heard this, that it enhances it, Garbled User. Is this just made up or not? I'm not really sure. Return for some people equal death. Willie Bell of Northern Light, when he retired, just vegetated in front of the television until he died. I can't imagine doing something like that. He didn't like his job. He was angry, very angry. I learned a lot from him just because he shouted at me when I didn't do it right. I learned how to tie knots, that you could literally just, if there was a pole sticking out from the wall, you could just flip the rope over and then just bang, put all your weight in it and it would lock solid. Very neat. He knew all the knots because he was at old school. He also used to put on these little ballet shoes and go and walk up girders, climb up the angled girders and then just balance and walk along beams because that's just the era he came from. Not me. We had some fun at the job where we stored some Christmas lights. We had ropes hanging from the ceiling for keeping them upright. And we tried swinging from one rope to the next. He was the only one who could swing all the way along and back again. He also showed me how to find electrical short circuits by bypassing the fucking fuse. Yeah, that works. Yes, it works in a way, not necessarily good for the wiring, but it's loud and it's very visual. Yes, that worked, Willie. Not how we do it these days, but quite fun. Wish I'd had a suitable camera back then for filming the results of that. Could you do a video about OpenSCAD for beginners? I'm not the best person to do that, Brian Pearls, because I'm literally at the bottom of the curve on OpenSCAD. I've just made something today, just a bracket, but and it was easy, but to use it properly, like a good example is the star. Things like this. Are they better done in a standard graphical CAD package or OpenSCAD? Because this required major league maths to get all the straight lines connecting the curves for an internal curve and the curve down here, the internal curve and the external curve. Quite a complex shape. Good job on this. It wasn't me who did this. Good job on the 3 people who actually contributed to that. So the stream is about to come to an end with a woofle. Let me scroll down and just see what you're saying. I want to retire. It'll be an adjustment. No more bullshit fan plan. Retirement can be changing a job as well to one that's just laid back. You know the old guy, like the old maintenance engineer who becomes just the janitor or something like that. Keeps him busy, gives him access to a workshop, no pressure, still bringing money in. I don't think the money really matters. I think they just want to keep working. I couldn't imagine not working. I actually enjoy work. Don't like the politics. It is woofle clock. Now the question is, what is it? Do I do a stream on Thursday again? It's usually every second Thursday, but I kind of am really bad at doing that. I do it every Thursday, don't I really? We'll see what happens. Maybe a short one. Maybe a short one on Thursday. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know in advance on Patreon. Woofle. Double woofle. The gas is lasting. Woofle. Little fireballs. So warm. Think how much that gas would cost these days. 99p apparently. But now, Zinda Magic Puffer Dragon, I want to retire, but I'm already not working. I'm a disabled stay-at-home dad who can't retire for 18 years now. Just enjoy yourself. Don't feel guilty in any way. Just enjoy yourself. Do stuff. Work is for the bears. It is for the bears. We kind of want work. We want trucks and fucking JCBs and cherry pickers and bucket trucks and things like that. They're the fun things, and big cranes, really big cranes, and explosive high power electrical equipment. Manly stuff. But anyway, the stream is coming to an end. Touch your body. What? The stream is coming to an end. I shall see you next week. There may be, I'll let the patrons know. Depends what happens this week, what's happening. I'm not sure what's happening this week. But maybe another stream on Thursday. In the meantime, videos will be released as normal. Until then, I shall catch you about a flying ant, I think it is. I think that's an ant. That insect spray asunder for you. But anyway, have a good week. And I shall see you next week. Catch you about. Awkward moment.